There are aggressive fish, there are semi-aggressive fish, and there are peaceful fish. And today we're going to cover 5 of the most peaceful fish that can go in almost any smaller community tank. My name is Jennifer and you're watching Fishy Pet Keeping. Stay tuned! Number 5. The cherry shrimp. Now, yes, I know cherry shrimp aren't shrimp, but I might as well ruin a list with a crustacean or an invertebrate. They are very peaceful and very just amazing creatures to have in just a very small tank or even a big tank if you want. But I believe that shrimp should have at least 1 or 2 gallons or so. They'll do fine in 1 gallon, but that's just the way it is. I like to give them just a little bit extra space. Some people don't have luck with shrimp, but I never found it to be a problem just because I have very soft and slightly acidic water coming out of my tap. I never had a problem with them until I had to emergency move my betta, and I can't find any more shrimp now. I wonder what happened. But in my experience, they are very easy to care for. You can buy shrimp pellets or crustacean pellets just specifically for these shrimp. And there are a wide variety of pellets or food for them. Some foods will intensify their colors, some foods will intensify, I wouldn't say intensify, but it will strengthen their immune system. You can put catappa leaves in there for a more natural look and that black water look in your tank, which I'm a huge fan of. And you can just leave your leaves. But you can leave your leaves in there and it will be a very good food source for them. Some people put minerals in the water just so it can help with a little bit with the molting. But I found that my tap water works just fine for the shrimp that I had. And I have a pH of around 6.68 and very, very soft water. Now, I have never had a problem with it. These shrimp, they are very popular with aquascapers, and being someone who enjoys aquascaping myself, I have noticed that whenever I add shrimp to my aquascape, for example, they tend to love when there's hair algae growing. They will fix that right up. I love it. Now, they won't really take the algae that's on the glass, but still they will get through those crevices, every single crevice, because they're so small and they can easily get through there and just take every single hair algae that exists. And this is especially good if you have a very densely and very heavily planted tank. Now, I do believe that there are shrimp that are more suitable for you than any other. For example, there are the Neocaridina that I have had. There are the Caridina, which is you may know of the crystal shrimp. That's another very popular shrimp. I have never kept those, so I don't really know the required hardness and the required pH and such. But just do research and get whatever shrimp that is suitable for you. They also breed very, very easily. They breed non-stop, almost like guppies. So don't be surprised if you see a female carrying eggs after just a few days. Number 4, guppies. Guppies are popular for a reason. They are very easy to keep, especially if you have hard water and a little bit higher pH. In my experience, most people do have a little bit harder pH and harder water. Harder pH, I mean higher pH. What am I saying? My experience with guppies is that if you have a little water on the softer side, and I mean like really soft, they tend to not do as well. When I had guppies for the first time, I made the mistakes of having them in too soft of water, and this led to scoliosis in the guppies. This can also be caused by just genetics. I've heard that food can also cause them the wrong foods, but especially the wrong parameters for them. So I think they're hardy in the right parameters, like harder water and a little bit higher pH, but they can be very sensitive in soft water. Though if you want to keep guppies, even though you may have soft water, there are tons of different options to harden the water and also higher the pH, I mean increase the pH. Oh god. There's crushed corals, which is a little bit more of a permanent solution. You don't have to dose every time you change water. But there are also like mineral powders and also chemicals that you can do to buff the pH. They can be very rewarding because they breed like crazy. They breed like rabbits or worse than rabbits. And they tend to be very active, they're like everywhere, that they won't really bother any plants or so. So make yourself go crazy and make the world's best aquascape. The recommended minimum size for guppies is usually around 5 gallons. And if you do keep them in smaller tanks, such as a 5-gallon or a 10-gallon, for example, I recommend to keep only males or only females, because they will breed, as I said. And if you do decide to mix males and females, then I recommend to get at least 2 females or even 3 with 1 male. And this is because if there are only 1 male and 1 female in there, he has the potential to stress her to death. So be on the safe side and don't stress your guppies to death. But the variety of colors and wouldn't say shapes, but shape of their tails, it's almost infinite, because there are so many varieties out there, like lace, the cobra, the marble, and just many more. There are cheaper varieties, there are more expensive varieties. I believe the most expensive guppy I have ever seen in real life is the tuxedo koi, and that one just captured my eye immediately because of their intensely like red snout, like almost like a rummy nose tetra, and also a tuxedo like color on their bodies. They were beautiful. And now, coming up at number 3 is the hatchetfish. Now I just want to say that I have never kept any hatchetfish in my life, but I have worked in a store that has hatchetfish, and also in my school where I studied animals, they had hatchetfish as well. So I got to learn a lot more about them there. And also, of course, I did some research on the internet. Now, the hatchetfish are small fish that can grow to about 1.5 inches. They always swim at the top layer of the aquarium, so preferably feed them like floating pellets or floating flakes. Now, they are very, very unique looking. I don't know why they look like this, but I would like to find out. And also I've read that this is a type of flying fish, so if they're in danger or feel threatened, they can actually jump out of the water and act as a flying fish. That's pretty cool. Some people say they can do fine in a 10-gallon, and maybe they do, but since they are schooling fish, I would like to give them a little bit more room to swim around and also not do water changes as much. So that's why I recommend a bigger tank, like a 20-gallon. I think this is an underrated fish because they have such a unique behavior to just swimming at the top layer of the aquarium all the time. I'm sure occasionally they will just swim down, but I have never seen it. Number 2. The celestial pearl Danio, or the galaxy Respora. Now this is a microfish, a true nano fish. They grow to be only about 1 inch, and they are so goddamn cute. My favorite thing about these is the unique pattern on their bodies, which it's in the name, the galaxy Respora. It looks like a galaxy, which I agree. And if you feed them right, the right foods and the right type of foods, their color will just explode. Their fins will have an intense red color. Now, if you've ever seen this in a pet store, I'm sure you have noticed that they can be a little bit skinny at first in the pet store. Now, they eat from the middle layer of the aquarium, and you know, their mouths, they're tiny, right? When I had celestial pearl Daniels, I fed them with like micro granules, or I crushed up some flakes, and I also made sure they were sinking, because in most pet stores every aquarium has different species, right? Many people don't really know how to feed them right, and if you just keep a floating flake just floating there all the time, they will go bad probably. Sometimes they will go up to the surface and eat, but I noticed that's not very common. And so make sure that they are small foods, that they can fit them in their mouth, and they will just perk right up, be a little bit fatter and happier, and their colors will probably intensify a little bit, and then you will have a more active celestial pearl Danio. Or they're schooling fish, so hopefully you will have perky celestial pearl Danios. And for these I would recommend at least 4 or 5 of them. If left all alone, they can be a little bit skittish and easily stressed. And because they are kinda easily stressed, they can also be a little bit delicate, so make sure you handle them with care. These fish are also very, very My voice is cracking so much today, I don't know why. These fish are also very, very popular with aquascapers. They won't bother your plants a bit, and they won't bother any other fish. Oh my god, why is my camera shaking? Okay, I don't know. And also another great food for them is live brine shrimp. If you don't have the possibility to breed your own brine shrimp, they don't necessarily need live brine shrimp. Just make sure to vary the foods you give them. And now finally number 1, neon tetras. A fluorescent, very colorful fish. What could be more attractive? Now when you first get these, they can be a little bit sensitive the first few days you have them in your tank because they just moved and they are just a little bit stressed. But this will go away in a few days. They're schooling fish, so you'll need at least six of them. This is the number 6. Now in my opinion, these are the most beautiful when it comes to the schooling behavior, because the more you get, the more interesting they will be to look at, and your tank will just look much more mesmerizing with those colors that pop. What I'm trying to say is that it looks just magical. You just gotta see to believe it. Just search for it on YouTube after this video. And for this fish I recommend at least 5 to 10 gallons, just because they tend to swim around. Yes, they're schooling fish, and that's why I recommend 5 to 10 gallon. You can have them in a 5 gallon, but preferably that should be a long tank. They will eat just about anything you give them. Flakes, frozen foods, live brine shrimp for example. They love brine shrimp. Pellets, like those tiny microgranules again, and they're hardy, and as I said, a little bit sensitive when you first get them, but then they're super hardy. They come from the Amazon River, so they like their water a little bit on the softer side and slightly acidic. And if you want it really natural in your tank, then add black water. I think it looks really great in a naturalistic tank. Scape however you want. Hardscape, they love to hide within like live plants, and they just feel safer with it. A lot of hardscape, a lot of live plants, and some of you may think, oh, it's such a common fish, oh, I don't want such a common fish, but come on, it's beautiful. Hello, hey, hi, boop. So, let's continue. So those were 5 of the most peaceful smaller fish that can go in almost any smaller community tank. What do you think? What are your favorite nano fish, and do you have any of these on this list? Leave a comment down below. And you know all the rest. If you like this video, please give it a like, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more like this. And also hit that notification bell just so you don't miss any updates. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!